Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Newired webinar on digital adoption solution. We'll wait a moment for all attendees to arrive, and then we will get started. So can you see my screen, Luca? Is that visible?
Yeah, I do.
All right. There's still people coming in, joining the webinar. Welcome, everybody. We'll just wait a couple of seconds for more people to join. Okay, I guess we're pretty much complete by now. So let's start. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this webinar on Newired digital adoption. Today, I'll be presenting together with my colleague, Gianluca. And we're going to explain about digital adoption and how you should choose one. So the agenda for today is pretty straightforward. I'll tell you a little bit about the mission of Newired and the solutions overview. We will go back to more fundamental questions, questions from the perspective of customers like the audience today. What is a digital adoption solution? How can it help me? What should I be looking for when choosing a DAS? My name is Rob Vogelsarm. I'm Vice President of Business Development at Newired, and I want to explain the need for digital adoption platform from the customer's point of view. So I talk with customers every day, and for this webinar, I actually made an inventory of the challenges that my customers are facing and the solution that we have in store for them. So together with my colleague Gianluca Ippolito, I will show you some practical examples of Newired in action. We will explain how the Newired DAS works, and hopefully we can give you some inspiring ideas with a checklist for choosing a digital adoption solution. So a little bit about the background. In the past 5 years, we've been very busy developing a wonderful and innovative digital adoption solution. And as you may know, innovation in IT is often driven from 3 directions. So there's science, sourced from universities and research labs, and science discovers problems that we don't even know we have or will have. The second source is software engineering itself. Software developers figure out smart ways to solve a problem, and new technologies come from different disciplines. For instance, technology from the gaming industry is being used in the financial industry, and this is a nice source of innovation. But the third source of innovation is actually you, the customers, the users. They call tech support with questions. We try to come up with a solution. We often get inspired by their ideas. So today we will be focusing on the customer standpoint and how we respond to their questions. So digital adoption solution. What is the accelerator behind all that? It really comes from the complexity and the further digitalization of the workplace. Companies are struggling to keep up, and digital technology is advancing. It also has become a must, digital adoption. We need to bridge the gap between people and the digital world. How do we introduce new digital ways of working? Constant training is very important. We'll get back to that later in the presentation. And customers are also becoming more demanding, more and more, and it's more difficult to please them. So digital adoption is really a way of improving the user experience, the efficiency, the use of new systems. And we have a nice solution for that. And this is a scheme on how learning and learning curves work. So when you introduce a new system, you give training, classroom training maybe, and people learn how to work with it. But then after a while, the knowledge goes down, and that's normal. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, we have a lot on mind. And sometimes tasks seldom occur and you simply forget how it's been done. So you retrain, so the knowledge goes up, and then there's a change, or there's a new system or a new regulation, and then the knowledge goes down again. And then you need to relearn or re-educate people. So this wave can actually be avoided by introducing digital adoption. You have knowledge available all the time, whenever people need it. It's like having an instructor standing beside you all the time. And although that's not possible, but maybe it is when using a digital adoption platform. So the word digital adoption solution has the word solution. So you would be, you can imply that there is a problem, apparently. So what is that problem really? So like I said, I talked with my customers, with the customers from Newired and leads, prospective customers of Newired, and asked, what are your challenges? So here's a list of challenges that we see. So onboarding new staff members, which is a very common challenge our customers deal with. You have new staff, you want to onboard them as quickly as possible, you want to learn the new systems, and that is really a challenge. Migrating staff to new software, international staff all over the globe with different languages. Another challenge is e-learning materials. So e-learning materials are often developed for a certain version of your system. When it gets updated, then the e-learning materials get obsolete. So you need to run after the software updates all the time. Fixing the forget effect that we just talked about. People forget after a while, it's normal. And there is a challenge to fight that. Our customers also want to stimulate the effective use of business applications. Some systems are just not used. Gartner did some interesting analysis on that, where really a big chunk of new business systems are just ignored by the people. Another point is the quality and consistency of data that you enter into the system. For instance, the way you enter data in a CRM. You need to have guidance on how you enter a telephone number or an address, or how you do the qualification of a lead. And by helping them in a digital adoption solution, you can actually increase the quality and the consistency of that data. Explain and implement new versions of the business applications, introducing a new version of SAP or Workday and explaining that. Improve the user experience of your software, making it better usable, more fun to work with. Here's a very important one, reduce the number of help desk calls. What we often see is that even simple tasks in your business system that occur really rarely, people just forget how to do it. We had this case with a large fashion brand who had like 25,000 employees worldwide in every continent, and they work with Workday as an HR system. And those employees wanted to know, what is the balance of my holidays this year? And that's a simple question for Workday, but the help desk of this company got 2,000 calls every day about this same question. So this is a simple, rarely occurring task that can really easily be solved with digital adoption. shorter calls with help desk, but also colleagues, asking colleagues, oh, do you know how this works, how that works? That is also being fixed. Helping external visitors navigate through your website. We have this example of an English bookstore that sells a lot of books, especially to elderly people. And they see that they fill the basket with books, but they never buy them. They just leave them there. For some reason, they can't find a way to actually buy it. Stuff like this. Guide your staff to complex regulated procedures. This happens a lot in regulated industries like pharmacies, aerospace, defense, semiconductor industry, where you have really complex regulated procedures that you need to guide your people through. What we see lately is a shift from companies who want to hire instructional designers instead of technical developers to create help content. So instructional designers are people who are more educationally gifted. They understand how people learn. So they have a lot of attention for the look and feel of the ergonomics of help content. And the problem is just that they are not very technical. So you need to give them tools that require no coding, that are easy to operate. Also, what we see a lot is that our customers want to offer access to knowledge base at the exact right moment. So often there is a lot of knowledge in the database of customers, little videos, GIFs, PDF explanations about workarounds or whatever. But handing it to users on the exact right moment is really a challenge, which can be fixed with digital adoption. So, on the more sunny side of the page, what do we have in store for all those challenges? Well, there's a really easy to use journey editor. It requires no coding. Gianluca will show it how it works after this slide with an easy example. But this is one of the things that we hear a lot from our customers. Newired is really easy to use. It's really a point-and-click way of going through your journey. You'll show it later. Second is the robustness of journeys. And the robustness, here we mean the reliability of your journeys. They don't break, they keep on going. Even if you update your system to a newer release where you change the user interface of your system, the journeys will still keep on working. That's because we have a little algorithm that actually follows all your fields, all your steps through the life cycle of your product. That is actually quite a unique aspect of Newired. Privacy, GDPR or those Californian rules, cookies, we don't record any data from our users. So Newired is GDPR compliant by design. We don't gather any information from users. We also have the possibility to secure for a secure on-premise server, meaning that you can actually host our software yourself. So it can be behind your own firewall. This often happens for government, defense, industrial organization who want it. And we are one of the few digital adoption vendors who actually offer that. Adding rich content to journeys and tips, videos, GIFs, nice tables, nice pictures. This is all being supported. There's a way to actually translate the journeys and the guidance in different languages. It's being done using the XLIF format, so we can export all the content of our journeys and tips and then have it translated outside our software in an automated way if needed or if possible. And you read it into the system again and you have a variety of different languages on your journeys. Version control. So we actually keep track of all the versions that you have of your journeys. This is also very important in regulated industries. You want to keep track of which version was published when, by who was it approved. This system is implemented. Then in the new 21.0 version that we released earlier this year, there's actually a documentation export of journeys, meaning that you can export all the guidance in a Word document. You can put it into an approval system. You can store it in a document management system. Again, regulated industries are really happy with this feature. Then there's the support for cross-application. Within Newired, you can actually jump from one application to the other in the same journey. So we guide you through different applications if necessary. You can actually start an extra application if you need to. So this really reaches around a lot of different applications from SAP to Workday to Oracle to your own application. And we are able to adapt the look and feel to the style guides of the customer. So people might even miss the fact that this is an external system because it looks more or less the same as the system itself. Same colors, same fonts, same appearance. And last but not least, managing the reviewing, the approval, and the deployment process of the journeys. Gianluca will show you a little bit about this from the portal that we have. So now control is yours, Gianluca. Gianluca will show you quite a simple example on a public website. I think it's like a technology vendor that you made some journeys for.
That's correct.
So this overlay technology is actually not touching the underlying application at all. It's like a website on a website, but it is context sensitive, so it can react on the actions of the user. And yeah, let's see what Gianluca has in store for us.
Okay, so as I'll just make myself presenter to show my screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen? You are. Okay, so as Rob said, this is just an example of what end users would actually look at in the context of, I'm outside of the company, I'm an end user which is outside of my company, and I want to be onboarded or get started with your own application. So how to actually do that? We made a few example journeys which we'll see now together. As you can see in the bottom right corner of the website here, you can see the help button. This is our launcher, Newired launcher, which we build upon here just by using a Newired extension that is allowing us to have a few journeys that I made. So let's just go ahead and dive deeper into what these actually are and check them out. The first one that I want to show you is just a general overview. What's the aim of the journey? The aim of the journey is actually to simply show general way around to the user to let him know what are the main area of interest for the application. So I'll just click on it and straight away it starts. You can see that now I'm playing my journey. I have a progress bar over here, which will tell me how much time or how much progress I've done into the journey. And I'm able to simply and smoothly follow this kind of experience. I would have to click next here. So let's take a tour on our website. And as you can see now, I'm highlighting the general menus of this area, just mentioning or giving a brief description of what this actually is or why the user should take care about it. So yeah, it's a very simple journey, and the concept is quite the same for the following ones, but we are highlighting these items you see also with some kind of spotlight, which is actually having the user focus and interact only in that kind of area, The user cannot go outside unless he quits the journey or proceeds with it. So we are really driving the user through this kind of knowledge. So we show technologies, aftermarket, FTP world, and webcast. What can we do next? You see the last step that I have over here is already proposing to my user what it could do or what can potentially do now inside of the product. I'm showing his way around, and I'm telling him now, hey, you might be perhaps interested in downloading the track engine brochure. So the power of journeys really consists in showing, of course, general things and have the user passively reading to information which are still contextual, but we are also able to dive deeper into the actual process of the specific website or application or web application that can bring us through this kind of features. So we'll just start this new journey now, okay? And this now, instead of having me click next and go through, it's actually going to make me interact with the underlying application. So you can see that I'm clicking on engines. Now I'm clicking here on road, and you see the experience should be very organic. As I'm interacting, I have additional information. Now this is quite simple, but enables me to dive deeper into something which I perhaps have never seen before, and to reach the actual download of the brochure. You can see here, I will download this, I get my PDF about it, and there you go. We just finished our journey. So it's something that acts as an overlay, but it just enriches the underlying application with details and really helps the user, because that's what's the main objective. Now, I want to show you one last journey over here, which is another example that what we may be able to do, and it's a fine dealer in your area. So in this case, as they are offering some mechanical parts, so you want to perhaps know which is the most ideal for you. So this is another example. Everything is very adapted to the behavior of the system. Now I'm driving to this, I'm just putting my address over here, and here you will see all the available dealers. So I can scroll to the ones that I may want, then perhaps click on details, and I will have all the details of my the point that of my interest. Okay, so uh, it can of course go even in more advanced cases, which we'll see in the second part of my demo. But this is actually going. It shows mainly what kind of experience an external user may have over some kind of website or web application. I will click on journey now, and I want to show you how easy it is actually to create these kind of guides. It's actually very easy. So in order to do that, we need to open our editor, which is a standalone application that you're able to download once you have the product. But this is it, and it looks quite similar to a browser, just like Chrome or Edge, on which we work by the way. And it's going to simulate exactly how the browser is behaving. And in addition to this, we have this sidebar, which is fundamental for us to, and I just need to move this just lower, sorry, which is fundamental for us to create content. So I'll start by just creating a new journey with this plus button here. And I'll say new journey. Okay, and I'll save it. And now I'm going to start to add my sequential steps. Of course, a journey is going to describe a process, and we have 1 to X number of steps, which we'll need to define. But you can see that I'm choosing one type of our steps and putting into engines, for example, let's simulate something which is very similar to the first journey that I showed you, which is the overview. Okay, so we'll just make a few steps. But you can see I'm selecting the element that I want to describe, clicking on it, and now I can say, I can write some text and say this is engines. Okay, I'm able to define the kind of transition, which is the one. It's very important to mention and describe the kind of behavior you want to have inside of the journey. In our case, next button. So having to click this to proceed is what we want. So I will just confirm changes in the bottom corner over here and proceed with the creation of my other steps. So call out again, and I go over drive lines, and I say this is drive lines. Okay, and you can imagine that this goes forward up to having a very full journey. You may think that this is maybe oversimplified. It actually is the main core of having a structure of journey done. Now we can see here again technologies. But Newired, even though it's quite easy to use and create a very easy drafted or structure of journeys, can really go in depth of what it can actually do. And as you can see from this big editor, to really make very extremely customized content with images or media files or even any kind of text edited as you want, as you can see from here. So for example, I want to give it an additional spotlight, as I showed you in my overview journey. I can do it from here, and much more other features are inside here, which are a bit more advanced. But this is just to show you that the power of journeys really lies behind what the actual behavior that the end user will have to do can be described with this kind of editor. So let's say that now I have my journey here, and this is what we like. We are also able to bring this and publish it and put it live. But maybe just to wrap this up, I also want to show you that you're able to preview it from here, for example. So you see, this is engines, drivelines, technologies, and with a few clicks, you're able also to bring it live. So I can set this to active, and if I go inside my portal, which is essentially the server of where the data of Newired lies, that makes me control all the journeys or tips and different settings of our product, deployed product. We also have report data about these kind of the product, but and a fully dedicated version system. And now I'm just going to quickly show you that in a few clicks, I'm going to create a new version with our new journey added and publish that as live. With this, let's say 3 to 4 clicks, I'm able to go back to my website, reload it, and I would have my new journey available already for end users. So that's it. That's how the main function of the editor works, and this is what can bring you to your end users. Rob, I think that's it for now. So I'll bring back the word for you.
Okay, thank you. We will get back to Gianluca in a few minutes to go into a little bit more complex example in a business application. Let me see. Do I already have control?
I'll give you. Yeah, you should be able to share now. Yeah.
Okay. So you see my screen again?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So we looked into the challenges that our customers are dealing with and the solutions that we have built in Newired. It is a lot of information, a lot of clouds and sun rays. So I made a little bit more simple overview here with an X and Y axis. So on the Y axis, I actually have the challenges, the onboarding, the migration, the user experience. And on the X, I have the zero coding, so the easy to use editor. So now let's look into how Newired is covering all these challenges. Well, that's that's no surprise. We cover everything really. Sorry for this this poor job, but we actually do check all the boxes if it comes to meeting all the demands of our customers. But of course, in some areas we are even stronger than normal. And just to give you an example, because this could actually be a nice checkbox and checklist for you. Let's say, for instance, you're dealing with regulated procedures. So, for instance, getting a drug administered by the FDA, the FDA 21 CFR. In that case, you actually want to be sure that you have a very robust journey because you have to guide your staff through those regulated procedures. But also, you need to be sure that you can export all those journeys and store them in your document management system because it becomes part of your approval process. It's actually replacing e-learning. It's replacing instructions. It is guiding your staff through those procedures all the time. So document export is a special feature. The zero coding is really important. The translations, setting it in other languages easily. We shortly looked into the deployment portal. So let's go into the technology a little bit deeper. For this purpose, I think Gianluca has prepared an example on a tool called Mattermost, which is being used in a lot of development organizations. Yeah, shall we transfer control to you?
Okay, let's do it. So I'll share again my screen. Please tell me if you see it again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So now we'll see another environment, okay, which is, as Rob said, Mattermost. So what you can see here, and I need to hide again this control panel, is Mattermost, which is a chat system used in companies for the inner communication. We also use it personally for the communication with the internal team. But over here, we actually made a nice demo of official Mattermost information, which can really bring to some very difficult application some really good help. You cannot see the triangle over here. This is because we customized actually the launcher to be really fitting the application underlying that. So it's something that is possible for any kind of customer, and it's possible for any kind of web application to really tailor the experience and the look and feel of Newired so that it fits perfectly your needs or the needs of the application. But now clicking it, it will open my launcher, the same launcher that we saw before, with a list of journeys. Over here we have the same kind of concept with an overview. Of course, as this is not a website, it is a bit more complex in terms of operation and possibilities, but that you can do. Let's check a few of these journeys out and proceed to that. So this is going to welcome you to the concept of Mattermost and what it is. And as you can see, it's just giving me explaining of what is the purpose and major benefits of Mattermost, uh, and how to actually start working with this kind of product. So it's onboarding my user with what he needs to know, the fundamentals. I just need to know how it works. I don't really care about perhaps anything more advanced as I just got in. I this is my first time perhaps that I see the application, but it will show me and highlight, for example, the kind of areas that will be useful for me, like channels and all the different ones, so public, private channels, etc., uh, direct messages, etc. So it's just, yeah, a general onboarding of what the features are, again, without having the user to be actively doing something inside. And over here, I just put some example of what the kind of formatting you can do. So really any kind of feature of my product can be put inside with images, with new formatting of text, etc. Um, Again, quite useful to pinpoint and highlight some specific areas which may be useful. But now we'll just jump into a more specific thing. As this is chat and messages application, it's fundamental, of course, to define also the kind of notification, right? Because you need to be notified or get notified as soon as somebody's writing to you so that you are quicker responsive. Everybody has his own needs. So I have just made a journey over here that will help us go through the customization of said notification. So this is after doing some premise, it's actually going to help us go through the notification, even if we don't know how to do it, if we don't know where to go for it. Instead of going into, for example, application X and read the PDF about how to set notification, this is going to be a really time saver for my user, which is going to be more productive, of course, because it's going to save a lot of time doing this. And over here, yeah, we just went through setting up the notification. I can set it as I wish, fitting to my needs, and then clicking on save. Okay, so again, before we saw something which is mainly on focus for the web, and for the website, and mainly also for um, end users. This is some case which fits much better into what's an internal customer going to see and interact with. As of course, you may have this for any kind of web application, which is even more complex than Mattermost, so that all the kind of doubts about using the product are just on time available for everybody, and they can really make use of it. So you're destroying kind of times of support and stress for the user, which is the ideal thing to do, right? We just want to increase performance of the overall company. So now I'll just show a last journey example just to show you another kind of possibility, um, which is very simple. So I maybe not want to pinpoint anything or show the way around. I may need just to give some information to the user, some good to know information before it starts. A journey, or in other cases tips, are quite useful to just have plain text over here, and we give information for the user so that he's able to even uh, start working with the product and start writing, etc. But I'm able to have my help over the side so that it helps. So it's quite cool what are the actual possibilities of it. Now, I think we go back to you, Rob. But that's pretty much also what we can have as an example over some internal application.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take back control. Okay. Okay, so you can see my screen again.
Yes.
Very good. So let's have a few minutes looking at the numbers related to digital adoption. So what we get reported back from customers is that 53% of internal training costs are being saved using a digital adoption system. 20% increase in user interaction within 6 months. So we enhanced product proficiency and achieve higher performance from your users. 10 times more traffic to the knowledge base is being reported because we actually disclose the knowledge base to your customers, to your users. So we now have time maybe to give some answers to your questions. I can see in my I'm not sure if these questions have already been answered by our staff, but I see a question from Sajal about digital transformation requires deep domain understanding. How is it handled by Newired? Yeah, that is the good thing about giving the journey and tip building in the hands of your own people. So we make journey writing really simple using an editor. So the domain and knowledge really stays within your team. So we don't sell journeys, we sell the tools to build them. So we enable your staff to build journeys. And of course, we help with that. Our training programs used to be really focused on learning you how to write journeys in general. But more recently, we actually changed the training service into helping you creating journeys on your own application, which is a lot more efficient and quicker. Another question I have is, what do I need to install to make the journeys work? That's a good question. There are actually two ways of making the journeys visible on the screen of the user. The best, or the most elegant way is to install a little snippet in the application itself, in the JavaScript. This snippet will actually guide the users to the server where the journeys are being served, and it will run on any browser. That could be Chrome, Edge, all kinds of browsers that are available on the market. But that means that your users will not have to install anything. If it's not possible to install the snippet in the code of the application, then you can also install a little browser extension. That is available also for all, well, the most used browsers, and that means that you can actually show tips and journeys for every browser that has this little extension installed. Okay. Actually, here's a question related to an earlier question. Can I order journeys as a service, or do I need to create them myself? Yes, we help you to create those journeys yourself. We can help, but in the meantime, we also built quite a network of journey builders, of authors in the world, in the US, in Europe, in Asia Pacific, specialists who know Newired very well and help customers build journeys in your own language, in Chinese or in all kinds of languages. So we are a technology vendor, so we sell the tools, and the journeys are being created by our customers. Okay, well, we hit the 45 minutes by now. Do we have a little bit more time? Or maybe this is a question for you, Gianluca. One of the participants is asking, how does it help in building resilience? Can you say something about that?
Yeah, well, having contextual help is really helping the user having constant in-app guidance. So as it's going through, as a user is just going through the natural process of learning within an application, it usually tends to the learning curve usually tends to fade out as the standard training modes are just I book a training, I have this kind of session or a full immersion training of whatever, and it's going to end there. And there are some processes which may be just happening once in a while, and those are usually the most hard ones, as you may just easily forget what are those. But in the end, having always contextual help that just when you need the application help, you can receive it on the application. It's definitely helping with resilience of the product. I don't know if that answers at best the question, but I think generally the digital adoption platform is just bringing really that kind of value into a company.
Okay, very good. All right, well, thanks for your attention. This is all we have time for. If you have any questions, my and Gianluca's email address are on the screen here. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. As I said, we will make this webinar also available as a video. And if you have interest for that, you can reach us here. And thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.